In my opinion, the best way to find a Derby winner is by using a flow chart. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on another episode of Stop and Smell My Roses, brought to you by My Racehorse. It was the final Derby Preps weekend last weekend, and they were a little disappointing, right? Let's be honest. First up, I think, was everyone was expecting to see Concert Tour in the Arkansas Derby. And the good news is that Florent obviously loves poetry because he got his horse rolling out of the gate. He was on Caddo River. If you go back to the break, he was down along the inside. He was definitely not as sharp as you wanted to see, but Florent got after him. Come on, and got him up to the front. Concert Tour, on the other hand, he was towards the outside. He was rocket quick to Joel Rosario. But Joel was really willing to take the back seat to Caddo River this time. We saw Caddo River try to rate last time. It didn't work out. This time, when they're going down the backside or right into the turn, you can see Caddo River going up, and Joel goes and pulls back with that left arm really to set himself.
And now Rosario is going to let Caddo River lead as he takes Concert Tour just back a neck behind.
And that horse definitely wants to go faster. He wasn't fighting, but he was keen to go on. Coming to the top of the stretch, Caddo River is under a drive, and Rosario is not doing anything. I literally filmed myself watching this race. I was like, not going to even whip him, not going to do anything. That confident, huh? And then it was like, ho. All of a sudden, 17 things change, right? Caddo River starts to come back. Concert Tour is just not firing. And Joel's like, oh crap, I'm trying to whip, but it's just not happening. And meanwhile, Superstock, who was down along the inside, angles out and passes them all for the score. This horse, okay, all of a sudden you're like, that was crazy. Who the heck was that, right? You know from the white bridle it was Steve Asmussen, but who is the horse? You're looking down at your PPs. Let me tell you who this horse was. I have to read it because I don't even remember. His lone win was in the Texas Thoroughbred Futurity. He was second to King Fury in the Street Sense. He was third to Essential Quality in the British Futurity. And he was fourth in the Rebel to Caddo River and get her number. But overall, he was just kind of like a nobody that's been knocking on doors, I guess you can say. Now, turn the clock on that. All of a sudden, this horse becomes like a great horse to talk about because he's got a great story. He's owned in part by Steve Asmussen's parents, who are obviously longtime horse racing people, and everybody loves them. And, they're really big in the breeding and the breaking and everything. And it's their 60th wedding anniversary this year. And they were just so cute on TV. You just want to hug them and squeeze them. And all of a sudden, you want to root for them, even though you had no idea, at least if you're me, who the heck Superstock was before he sprung the upset in the Arkansas Derby. Now, what takeaways do we take away from this? Caddo River is obviously best if you let him go out and do his job. I appreciate the fact that down the lane, it looked like Concert Tour was going to run right on by, and Caddo River dug back and actually got up for second. So kudos to him. He showed a little bit of fight and rally. You got to let him do his thing. And I think that we've seen Brad Cox be really successful with that in the past with horses like Knicks Go. Just let them do their job. Don't try and make them do different things. Concert Tour was probably the biggest disappointment. I think everybody will agree. Was it because he wasn't on the lead? Was it because he was just flat? Was it there's so many question marks. We're not even sure what the heck happened. Was it the plan maybe to see, okay, will he rate or not? You could definitely see he could have gone a lot faster earlier. And some horses make them rate, and they're just like, you know what? I am so tired of you telling me what to do. I'm just not going to run at all. So we could have had that situation. He's so lightly raced, we just don't know. Overall, he didn't have a huge excuse. It wasn't like he had trouble. And that's what Bob Baffert's kind of said, right? You don't mind to get beat with excuses, and this horse had a clean trip. Overall, they're a little on the fence now about running Concert Tour, which is crazy, right? Anybody else is like, oh, can you run third in the Arkansas Derby, run the Kentucky Derby? Heck yeah, I can. Put me in the Derby, boss. If I ran last in the Arkansas Derby, but I had a shot to get in, I kind of feel like I would want to do that. But when you're talking about Bob Baffert and his peeps, they might not want to. So instead, I don't want to say he's on the fence, but I think he's kind of on the fence. They want to see how he trains. He's already shipped to Churchill. So we'll have to wait for it next week to see. The other prep was the Lexington Stakes, and that went to another horse that I had never heard of before, King Fury. I will say this, though. I'm on my phone, on my ExpressBet app, and I was like, Bluegrass or the Lexington is coming up. I need to bet. And I scroll down and I see Kenny McPeak at 18-1. Oh, Bet. Didn't even look at the horse or anything, just saw he was 18-1 and played him. I was thrilled later to see money in my account because obviously I picked the right horse, but it was literally because that's the kind of races that Kenny McPeek wins and not because I knew anything about the horse. If you go back and watch the race, it was a sloppy mess, this racetrack. And really, going in the first turn, this horse did not look comfortable at all. He was slipping and sliding through the first turn. He, at one point, going down the backside when I was rewatching this, I'm like, am I watching the right horse? I'm sure I might not be watching the right horse because this horse looks on the verge of pulling up. But they brought him down along the inside, and this horse just put in a sustained run, turning for home, nothing in his way, and he won clear. Now, he's going to need some serious defections to get in, so overall, he really doesn't have a say in the Derby story. But I think that Kenny was really happy with his victory because at a $950,000 purchase, he is the most expensive horse that Kenny McPeek has ever bought at public auction. So I'm sure he wanted to deliver with that one. A son there of Curlin out of the really good race mare, Taurus. Okay, so going ahead to Derby, obviously we have no more preps. So hopefully next week we'll be able to look at maybe some key works for horses that we really like and we're seeing get primed up for the Kentucky Derby. I did want to help you guys out with a little flow chart, right? Because it's hard to say like who's the best. So I did make this flow chart right here. I'm going to make it neater and I'm going to give it to Steve, who does all of our editing, and hopefully he can put it up on the screen for you. So basically, Essential Quality has beat everybody, right? He's undefeated, so no one that he's faced hasn't been able to be beat by him. The difference maker will be Known Agenda. He's on the side because he hasn't faced Essential Quality, and Rock Your World hasn't faced Essential Quality. But Rock Your World beat Medina Spirit and Get Her Number. Medina Spirit did beat Hot Rod Charlie, who was also beaten by Essential Quality. So all you Hot Rod Charlie people, now all of a sudden he's going to have to really jump up and do something good for him to be a winner, right? Hot Rod Charlie did beat Midnight Bourbon and Obesos, who I think are horses that people want to jump on the bandwagon. Essential Quality also beat Hidden Stash. Helium also beat Hidden Stash, but he hasn't beaten anybody else. Essential Quality also beat Superstock, who of course in turn beat Concert Tour and Cattle River. And Cattle River has also now beaten Concert Tour. Are you still with me? I hope that you are. Essential Quality also recently beat Highly Motivated in the Bluegrass, and Highly Motivated beat Known Agenda, who also beat Soup and Sandwich. So, yeah, I have no idea. This is like a really wide open Derby. You think that, when we usually have like a big blowout winner of some of these and you're like, oh, this horse is definitely going to win, or this horse wants the distance because he's always, coming through and the gallop out's big. But I feel like this year it's going to be a super competitive race. My first pass through ended up with like a top 7 horses that I really, really like, and we'll maybe do like a top 5 next weekend. I will say this week I talked to Jimmy Bell, who is the leader of Godolphin. And of course they have Essential Quality, who is the leader pro temp of the crop. I've been kind of a hater on him, right, guys? Because he's just not like dazzling. And I really like a horse to kind of dazzle me or show me something. I did give him credit in the Bluegrass because he looked at other horse eye to eye for the first time and was able to move by and persevere for the win. I liked that. That was like the first time I was like, okay. But Jimmy Bell did make a point that Essential Quality has done something different in pretty much all his races. So of course I had to go back and I had to watch all of his races to see if Jimmy Bell was telling the truth. Not that I thought he was lying, but I wanted to see, an unbiased opinion. And he does. In his maiden race, he came from off the pace. In the Breeders' Futurity, he was like kind of right off the lead. In the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he was a little bit farther behind. In the Southwest, he was also behind, and then he came up. And in the Bluegrass, he was close to the pace and then had to duel. He won these races at 3 different tracks at a bunch of different distances. So kind of the more I'm looking at this and this, I just keep seeing the same name on top: Essential Quality, Essential Quality, Essential Quality. So I don't know. All of a sudden, I'm kind of like jumping onto that bandwagon, which is crazy because I normally hate on favorites. It's just what I do. Nothing against the favorites, and I'll cheer you on if you win because I love the connections, but I always try and find another horse. And right now, I just all of a sudden I'm like talking myself onto Essential Quality. And what are the odds that he doesn't go favorite? I don't even know. I mean, he has to go favorite, right? Maybe I'll be lucky and get like a good price favorite. All right, wind it up. Just want to finish out by saying that there are some rider updates to give you. Flavia and Pratt has been named aboard Hot Rod Charlie. Mike Smith will be aboard Midnight Bourbon. He got beat by Hot Rod Charlie, in case you don't remember. He was second in Louisiana Derby. Rosario is on concert tour, should he go, and Julian Leproux has been named on Helium. There are still a couple horses that might need riders, like Caddo River, because Florent rides him as well as Mandaloun. So I'm going to assume that he's going to go with Mandaloun, but who knows what jockeys or jockeys' agents think. So that was just my brief thought process. I'm not sure. So there's a look at what riders are going on. That was the update from last week. Overall, both prep races were won by horses I couldn't tell you anything about before the race, and I can tell you very little about after. One of them probably won't even make it into the field in the Kentucky Derby, and by the flow chart, Essential Quality should definitely be able to win. Next week, we'll take a look at some works and hopefully trudge our way through this flower garden on our way to pick up a big, bold bouquet of roses. Thanks for joining me, guys.